But I am super excited, guys. My name is Resia Cooper. If you guys are unaware, I am Resia Cooper, and I am the engagement coordinator for the NASW New Jersey and Delaware chapter. And I'm super excited to have an opportunity to present to not just our students, but also to students from other chapters and other universities and other social work students all around the United States of America. That's a great, great opportunity. So before we get started today, I just want to briefly share our code of ethics conduct. When you registered for this event, you took the code of ethic conducts that you will be respectful of the presenter and us also of our fellow participants. So if you see someone in the chat, be nice, be kind, say things that you would like someone to say to you. So be really kind. I'm excited that we are all here today. I do see some of my colleagues on, so hey, I'm excited that they're here. So if you see them in the chat answering questions, you might see the executive director from Michigan. Yes, Michigan, Dwayne. And I also have another colleague, Nadir. He just hopped on and he is from Wisconsin. So if you see them chiming in, that is what they are here to do. They are supporting me as we support you. So welcome, welcome, welcome again. We are super excited to have you for our August programming, where we are going to be talking about maximizing your student journey. If you see me look down slightly, I am using my phone to let people in and out because I'm the moderator and the facilitator today. So I am just being transparent. So before we get started, let me just close this. And we are gonna jump right into this. So let's get started. So can you guys see the screen that says Getting Personal? If you can, just give me a thumbs up. I wanna make sure that you guys are seeing what I'm seeing. Okay, thank you, Ashley. So Getting Personal. So my name is Resia Cooper, everyone, and I am an MSW. I graduated from Fordham University in 2022. And like I said, when I started this presentation, I am the engagement coordinator for 2 of our chapters, New Jersey and Delaware. I'm a military spouse, I'm a mom of 2, and I'm a student success consultant, which is something that I love to do. When I was a student myself, I realized that there was a gap with the profession and our students. And I started a group that's the Social Work Students of Color group. It's a support group for social work students. And from that, I just entered into this whirlwind of wanting to support students. I'm also a YouTuber. I serve as the student success expert with Black Girls in Social Work. And I am now a workshop facilitator. So I'm super excited about that. So that is just a little bit about me. And today I am excited that I get to be your academic guide. That's what I call myself when I do these presentations, because I'm guiding you through something that is a beautiful opportunity for you. So I want to start with the welcome message that says social work programs are not created equally, but how you navigate them allows you to play a major part in your journey and your outcome. So before we get started, I'm going to do a quick check-in. This is an opportunity just to focus ourselves. We are probably all coming from work, internships, school, life, and sometimes we have to toggle our mind that we are starting a presentation or a webinar or taking in information that is going to be beneficial in the long run. So this is the check-in question. What 3 emotions are you feeling right now? And if you can drop it in the chat so we can have a little conversation about it, I'll be super excited. So what 3 emotions are you guys feeling right now? And I'm gonna check the chat. What 3 emotions? No one is feeling any emotions today? Well, I'll start. I'm excited. I'm nervous. Okay, I'm starting to get them. Okay. Can you guys not chat with each other? All right, I just changed it so you guys can chat with each other. So Someone said they're tired, they're grateful, and they're loved. Those are some great emotions to be feeling. Someone else said tired, excited, curious. Yes, curious is a good one. I think curiosity is something that we need on our learning journey, which is a lifelong journey. Curiosity really serves us well. Someone said tired, excited, motivated. Okay. I wish I could have like one-on-ones, like what's making you motivated? Someone else said excited, encouraged, open-minded, curious, engaged, but a bit tired. I feel you in the tired. Um, yes, I just made the chat open to all. Happy, excited, anxious, excited, nervous, tired, calm, hungry, excited, happy, determined, nervous, and excited. Wow, that is some amazing things. I start my MSW Monday. Congratulations, Casey or Cassie. If I'm saying it wrong, just type it phonetically in the chat and I'll get it right. But congratulations on starting your MSW program. And Ashley, congratulations on starting your internship on the 28th. That is some great things that you are embarking on. That's probably going to be the internship year is my favorite year as a social work student. So I know you are going to find a lot of benefit from that. So thank you for sharing. Okay, before we jump in, one more task, one more thing. Where is everyone here from? I am currently in South Carolina, so let us know where you are tuning in from. I like to talk about states: Maine, Wisconsin, North Carolina, Michigan, Florida, Baltimore, Pennsylvania, Indiana, Ohio, Georgia, Michigan, Ohio, Iowa, Michigan, Ann Arbor. Ooh, from Florida. Okay. New Jersey. Okay. Hi, Imani from New Jersey. Well, welcome. I'm so excited that so many people from all over the all over the United States is here. So that just gives me a little bit more nerves, but I'm gonna push through. So thank you for sharing your emotions with us today, and with me, I should say. It's only me. With me today. I always start presentations with just feeling our emotions because that allows us to get into the space of being vulnerable with each other and knowing that we can trust the people in the room, that this is a safe and brave space so we can navigate anything together. So your student experience, this is where we are going to dive right in. And if you have questions, guys, this is interactive. So ask me questions, raise your hand, stop me. If I'm speaking too fast, I'm a New Yorker, just say it in the chat, like, can you slow down? And I 100% will try my hardest to do that. So the importance of the social work student experience. So social work is one of the most unique and challenging opportunities that anyone can face. I think as a social work student, you learn so much from the textbooks, from the interactions with your professors, from the field placements, you name it, we are taking in so much information and we're then at the same time pouring it out into our internships. But part of the experience can be a challenging one, right? We can come against some roadblocks. I know for me, when I was an MSW student, one of the biggest challenges for me was that my field placement was not a paid field placement, right? So I had to make hard choices about my finances and what I would do moving forward. Also, there's disparities. I know people are talking about licensure, what to do, how to be a good social worker, what avenue to take, what pathway. And I just want to start this presentation by saying that you own your social work student experience. You own that. The journey that you go throughout that process is something that you can curate to benefit you, to give you the motivation that you need when the classes get tough, to give you the push that you need when you're like, I just can't do this again. Another paper, another exam, another DSM-5 class, another clinical class. I can't do this again. When you own the journey, it gives you the motivation that you need to just continue to push forward. I think that this experience is one that, whether you're starting at your BSW level or you are going all the way through a DSW or a PhD, you're going to learn tangible skills that no one can take from you, from just the skill development, right? We learn how to have tough conversations. We learn how to use critical thinking skills. We learn how to look at individuals and systems and groups and communities in their environment and how we can best serve those that are vulnerable, right? We get an opportunity to create our professional identity, right? As a student, that's when you get to say, like, do I like this? Do I like that? Is this where I really want to go? Do I want to be a macro social worker? Do I want to do therapy? Do I want to work with kids? Do I want to work with adults? Do I want to work in a school setting? You formulate your identity as a student. It can change when you enter into the profession, but when you are a student, that's really the test drive that you need to know where you're going to pivot to in the profession. As students, it's important to set your foundation. So I started with two quotes that I think are super important. Happiness is, well, the first one is not a quote, but happiness is the real sense of fulfillment that comes from hard work. The foundation of a social work profession is hard work. Going to school is hard work. The things that you have to do is hard work. Anyone that tells you like it's going to be a breeze, they're probably just trying to soften the blow. It's hard work to be in a social work program, if I'm honest, right? But with that hard work comes happiness and fulfillment. And there's a quote that I love that says, the whole purpose of an education is to turn mirrors into windows. So when we look at our reflections in the mirror, we're often seeing back the same thing that we see, right? I look in the mirror, all I'm going to see is Resia. If Alexandria looks in the mirror, all she's going to see, or he's going to see, or they're going to see, because no one has pronouns here, is themselves, right? But if you look out a window, you see a landscape, you see the beauty of nature. You can see trees, you can see homes, depending on where you are. You can see birds flying around. You can see people walking their dogs. You can see children playing in the park. Windows actually are like eyes, right? They allow you to see outward, where a mirror allows you to just see your own reflection. Part of the social work student journey is about goals. So does anyone in here love creating SMART goals? If you do, wave your hand, let me see. If you don't, you could say no. Okay, we have two people that like, three that likes and enjoys creating SMART goals. So this is a question for all of my students that are already in their programs. The answer is right there, but what are SMART goals? Let me see. What are SMART goals? Can anyone come off mute and tell me what are SMART goals? The answer is on the slide. Anyone want to tell me what SMART goals are? Okay, no one. They're specific, they're measurable, they're achievable, they're relevant, and they're time bound. And the thing that I love the most about SMART goals is that they're very clear. You can't deviate from what they are because they're so specific. So the S in SMART goals gives you an objective and it allows you to see it clearly. It's stated front and center. So anyone that reads the goal is on the same page as you. So let's say I had a SMART goal and Cece read it. She would be able to say what my outcome should be based on that specific portion of the goal. And they're measurable, right? How would you measure it? How would you keep track? How would you know that you did what you said you were going to do, right? They're achievable, they're realistic. A lot of people set goals that are non-realistic, right? Let's say you're in a social work program and you started today and you set a goal like, in the next week, I'm going to read all of my assignments. I'm going to read every textbook for my assignment, right? And you don't even consider that you have internship, that you have other courses, that you have life that might be lifing, that you have friends, family, social lives, and socializing things to do, and probably social clubs, right? If you don't take that into consideration, the goal may not be realistic. So SMART goals are very realistic. There's something that you can actually achieve. It makes sense and they're relevant. When you look at a SMART goal, you should ask yourself, what is the relevancy to me? Like if my SMART goal is, in my first semester of a graduate school, I will meet 2 students that will be my peer support, and I will also connect with one professor that can provide potential mentorship for me, right? That is a smart goal and it's relevant, right? It makes sense to where you are right now. You're going to need support. You're going to need a mentor in the future. So it's relevant to what you want to do. And it's time bound, right? You set goals that are like 2 weeks, 6 months, 7 days, 30 days, 60 days, 90 days. They are specific to a time frame so that you can measure if you completed them. I used to work for a company and we did a lot of KPIs, and that's like key performance indicators, right? How can you prove that you did what you said you were going to do? So prioritizing goals is essential for college students and to manage your time, to stay focused, to achieve academic and personal success. And there are some steps that you can definitely do to get that done, right? And I'm going to share them with you, right? One was a SMART goal, like you set your SMART goals, right? Then you ask yourself, which of my goals are high priorities, right? Which goals are most urgent and important? And then consider the deadlines, the due dates, and the potential impact of those goals. So for students, I always say your high priority goals are your assignments. Those are the things that you have to get done so that you can get the degree. So those become top priorities on your goal setting, right? And then from there, you trickle down like, okay, assignments, social interactions, and you create goals that are in level of importance and you prioritize them that way. And I always say create a to-do list. Break down each goal into smaller tasks or action steps, things that are bite-sized, things that you can do, and then you could be like motivated to do the next thing, right? And when you create those to-do lists, make sure that you're checking off things as you're doing them so you can feel a sense of accomplishment, like, oh wow, I said I was going to complete my first discussion board by Thursday. I did that. Check it off, right? And it gives you a sense of, okay, I have a better sense of what's going on in my classes and how I can navigate this, right? And then I always tell people about matrices. If you don't know what a matrix is, it's kind of like, let's say, a graph, right? It allows you to divide things into, once again, priority levels, but also categories, right? Um, and there's a few ones like the Eisenhower matrix that you can utilize. I should have put a picture in here for you guys. And it allows you to say what task is urgent, what about this task is urgent, and how do I complete it? And if I don't complete it within a certain amount of time, what is the repercussion for that, right? And as a student in a social work program, you need time management skills, right? How can I utilize my time wisely, effectively, and efficiently? When I was a student, I had to write a 30-page paper. And one of the first things I did was go on Google and say, how can I do this without becoming overwhelmed? And I started using the Pomodoro technique of like prioritizing and focusing, right? Where I set an amount of time that I'm going to focus on a specific task and I am focused on it. And I take breaks as needed in an interval that I have already allocated prior to starting, right? So let's say you have a paper to write and you say, I'm going to write this paper 3 pages Tuesday. I'm going to take 20 minutes followed by a 5-minute break so that you can tell yourself, like, this is how I'm going to get this done. This is the time management technique I'm going to use. And another thing is evaluate your personal values. As a student, it's easy to get overwhelmed with syllabi and what your professors need and what your internship needs, that you forget that you are a person, you're an individual. So what are your personal values? How do I put this? What's important to you? And how can you tie that into your overall goals and what you're doing as a student currently? And lastly, balance your short-term goals. Short-term and long-term goals are 2 different things. A long-term goal can be, hey, I'm in a social work program. My long-term goal is to become an LCSW within 4 years of graduating. And then a short-term goal could just be getting a B or an A in this class, right? And prioritizing them. level of when do I need to get this done? Is this something that is pressing, or is this something that I want to do and that I will get to eventually? And also, when you're setting goals, know that it's okay to say no. A lot of us don't like to say no, but it's okay to say no. And I know we're going to talk about GPA really quickly, guys, and some of the resources that I believe every university has out there, right? If you are in a social work program, you may know that you need to maintain a 3.0 GPA, and that is in most programs. I did a lot of research before I came up with that number to see if there's other programs out there. BSW programs tend to say 2.5 to 2.7, but at the graduate level, most programs are requiring a 3.0 to maintain your status as a student without being on academic probation or anything like that. So how do you maintain that GPA, right? You're interning probably, you're probably taking a lot of courses, and you're trying to have a social life. How do you maintain that GPA? And the first thing I want to say is that in every university, there is some amazing resources. So there's tutoring available, they have writing centers, and they often have study groups that you can sign up to attend to get the support that you need. Study techniques is something that is really important when you are trying to maintain your GPA. Like, how am I going to study, and what is best practice for me? As social workers, you'll realize that we talk a lot about what's best practice for our clients, but also for yourself. What's the best practice? Like, how do I learn the best? How do I retain information the best? What can I do, and how can I do it to learn the best? So there are some techniques that I can share after, of like just study tips and like recall, and how to get your brain to like toggle that, hey, I'm in study mode, and what I'm doing. What I am doing. Why is this going back? I'm sorry, guys. Give me 1 second. Okay. So that went back there. This is self-care, guys. This one is a big one. This one is important. Self-care is really important as a student. It's important as a social worker, but as a student, when you're really just trying to get your grades and maintain your GPA and make it to your internship and help your clients, or if you're in a macro internship, just push out those program developments. Maintaining and prioritizing your self-care is super important. Some of the ways that I tend to prioritize self-care, it doesn't have to be this lavish, expensive thing, but you can journal, and you can find like a guided journal that gives you prompts that allows you to take 2 seconds to say, what am I feeling? How can I change this feeling? How can I navigate this? How can I lay out my thoughts and my emotions and where I'm at right now to get it all out? Exercise is a big one. Exercising allows us to give our brains that the happy hormones that we need by getting that energy out. So exercising, do what you love. What is it that you love? What is it that you can't live without, right? For me, I love fragrances. So when I was an intern and a social work student, something that I did often was I would purchase a new fragrance, let's say once a month or once every 3 months, just so that I can feel like I was giving myself something that I loved, and I was giving myself a gift. Take brain breaks. I did this a lot as a student. I would just say, you know what, this Saturday, I'm not thinking about school. I'm not thinking about internship. I am going to take a bubble bath. I am going to listen to whatever music I want to listen to. I'm not going to do anything that is really strenuous on the brain. I'm going to color. I'm going to laugh. I'm going to watch a comedy show, just so that I can give my brain a break. Because as a student, your brain is going 24/7, whether you believe it or not, or whether you acknowledge it or not. When you have deadlines that are pressing, your brain is going. And it's like, I got to do this, I got to do this. And crafting. I don't know about you guys, but if you like to craft, this is a great way to incorporate self care in your day to day by just crafting, doing a mandala, doing a Zantangle, drawing a picture, painting a portrait. Crafting is a great one. All right. And then we have to embrace new learning opportunities. So I do have a quote that is here that I want to share with you guys. It says, the sooner you step away from your comfort zone, the sooner you realize that it wasn't really all that comfortable. As social work students and even as social workers, oftentimes we're going to have to step out of our comfort zone so that we can learn new things. Our profession is about continually learning. As a social worker, you got to do CEUs. So as a student, you have to get into the practice of continually learning. When we step out of our comfort zone, we get to see life for what it really is and opportunities for what they have to offer. Not because they're easy, not because they're perfect, not because they're curated the way that we thought they would be, but because they're teaching us a skill that is beneficial to the next season of our lives. So volunteer is a great way to learn new opportunities and to embrace them and to step out of your comfort zone. Internships, if you were in a BSW program, or if you have 2 internships as an MSW student, the first one should be something that's comfortable to you, right? But make sure that the second one is something that stretches you a little bit, something that doesn't come naturally to you, right? And it gives you an opportunity to learn other skills and just be a believer of continually learning. It doesn't have to be just what you're learning in your program. So don't limit yourself to what you must do to secure your degree, but ask yourself, what more can I do to learn? Read the code of ethics. That's a good one, right? To learn about the profession and really understand what is expected of you as a social worker and even as a social work student. Network with your professors, with your classmates, social clubs, online communities, conferences. I'm an avid believer of master classes. I think that they're an opportunity for us all to just really get to know new things. Like last year, I wanted to start a business, and I said to myself, I'm going to take a master class on how to do like a business plan. And I learned so much more about myself in this master class. And those are skills that I now bring to my job, right? As an engagement coordinator and on connecting with people. So don't be afraid to step out of the comfort zone and embrace new opportunities. It's a balancing act. I wish I had a magic pill to make maximizing your social work student experience easier, but it's truly about balancing life, personal life, academic life, and all the things that are in between. So I say all the time, there's 3 P's, and if you want to write them down, take them. Plan, prioritize, and pursue your passion. A lot of times students will ask me, what's a niche? And this is just a free gem. A niche is really your passion. When you're passionate about something, you crave it. And from that craving and desire, you start to learn more about that thing, right? And you allow yourself to embrace it and step out of your comfort zone and learn so much more about that thing. And eventually it becomes a niche when it's just your passion and you're pursuing it unapologetically, right? Plan, grab a planner. I literally just said to a student, your semester starts in 2 weeks. To maximize it, grab a planner and start putting the things that's on your syllabus in that planner. So you know your deadlines, you know what's expected of you by your professors, when it's expected. And if life throws you a curveball, then you can easily pivot because you have already planned. Time management. How are you scheduling your time? How are you making sure that you eat, you sleep, and you're socializing, right? How are you doing that? How are you avoiding overloading yourself with extracurriculars and courses and other things that you can do if you're not planning and making sure that you have your time management up to par. Boundaries. What are your non-negotiables? What are the things that you don't that doesn't align with you, right? Even as a student, you know what aligns with you and you know what doesn't. And to maximize your student journey, you need to be cognizant of this is what works, this is what doesn't work, and you have to be self-aware. And you have to have the language to share with other people what doesn't work, right? Let's say you are a religious person and you don't want to do an internship that requires you to be away from your family or your religious entity on a Sunday. That is a boundary that you have to make very clear to other people so that they can respect it as well, right? Let's say you have a preferred pronoun or a preferred name. Are you entering into the spaces, letting people know, like, hey, this is what I want you to respect, and allowing them to then execute it? So, boundaries is something that you need. Flexibility. I think our profession is about being flexible and having the ability to pivot. Everything is not going to be the same every single time that you do it, right? Even in with your clients, right? They may present one way, one session, and the next session they may present another. Are you able to pivot and be flexible and create this balance and act in the things that you're doing? And are you adaptable? Do you have grit? Like, these are the things that allows us to really balance life, school, internship, and everything in between. And one of the things that I think is very important for students is to take a self inventory about every 3 months. So, has anyone ever heard of the SWOT analysis? If you have, just put your hands up, say hey, drop it in the chat, say yes. But if you've heard of a SWOT analysis, this is something that I do every 3 months, right? Where I take a piece of paper, I fold it in 4 quadrants, and I utilize that to my benefit. What is Resia's strengths, right? What are my weaknesses? What opportunities do I have right now? And what is a threat to where I want to go? So I recommend that as students, you take an analysis every 3 months as you're learning new things, as you're exploring new opportunities, as you're living life with all of this new knowledge that you're learning, as you're preparing yourself to go into the profession so that you can create clear boundaries by knowing yourself. If you're not self-aware, your boundaries are going to be based on what social media tells you they should be, right? Or what your classmates says their boundaries are, or what you grew up hearing your parents say, right? Or your family members or your friends say. To create boundaries that are organic to you, authentic to you, and beneficial for you, you need to know you. So as a student doing a self-inventory, and it doesn't even have to be a SWOT, right? You can literally get a piece of paper and write, in the last 3 months, what did I do well? In the last 3 months, what areas did I find challenging, right? In the last 3 months, what connections did I make that were positive and beneficial to me? In the last 3 months, what interactions drained me, right? And then take that information and allow it to be beneficial for you as a student. And overcoming challenges and resistance. So I have 2 questions on the screen. It's, how do you define challenge? So I want us all to put in the chat how you define challenge. Or anyone want to come off mute, that would probably be best. If you want to come off mute and say how you define challenge, I would greatly appreciate you. Something that places an obstacle in your journey. Yes, Sam. Something not easily resolved, barrier to a goal, anything that makes me uncomfortable, something that is hard and makes me want to procrastinate. That resonated with me. Something that pushes me to grow beyond, these are moving quick, what I know that is hard. That is true. Okay, so can other people, not the same people, share with me, how do you define resilience? How do you define resilience? We gotta make some noise in the chat, guys. How you bounce back from hard things. Thanks, Jace.
I would say the ability to push through, to keep going.
Okay, thank you for coming off mute. The ability to push through and keep going. The ability to adapt from a challenge, being able to overcome and learn, pushing through the challenging times to enable myself to grow. I love that. I love that. So, potential obstacles are inevitable as a social work student. They're inevitable. And anyone that tells you that you're not going to have a challenging time, they're lying. But resilience is the important key to overcoming any setback. So I want to share a quick story with you guys. When I was in my MSW program, I was in an 8-month program. Don't ask me why I signed up for that. I knew going into that program that there was a 52-hour commitment, that I was a military spouse, and I had 2 small kids. But in my mind, I was like, I'm not going to do this part-time. I'm not going to belabor the time. I'm going to do this now and get it done. 8 months is a twinkling of an eye. So sign me up. I remember meeting with my success advisor, and she was like, you have a lot on your plate. You're sure you want to do this? Because on top of the 52 hours for school, you have to commit to 21 hours a week of internship in this 8 months. And I said, yeah, why not? I like a challenge. That's what I said. Halfway through my 8 months, my husband was deployed. And I remember feeling like that was a sucker punch. Like I wasn't going to finish this program. Like there's no way I can even conceptualize writing papers and exams and all of these things that I have to do to finish this program with a 3.0 without my one support that I have many miles away from my family. And I remember calling my success advisor again saying like, you know what, I think I'm gonna drop out. And I was 4 months in the program. I was like, I think I'm gonna drop out because there's no way that this is possible. And I remember she told me, in order to be a good social worker, you don't run from obstacles, you face them. And I remember saying to myself, like, lady, no, I'm not facing this. This is insane. There's no way I can take 15 credits with no support. And she said again, as a social worker, you don't run from challenges, you face them. And I remember starting to think about clinical social workers or macro social workers that's dealing with legislation and policy, and how sometimes we are placed in uncomfortable situations or our clients are faced with challenges, right? But if we have never overcame anything, how can we support our clients or go to a legislator and say, you know, this law is bogus and it needs to change because it doesn't help X, Y, and Z population, if we don't familiarize ourselves with overcoming challenges and becoming resilient? College life can present a range of challenges, but I could promise you the right strategies and mindset can help you overcome anything. I stress time management, but I also stress seeking support. Don't hesitate to reach out to people if you need help. Utilize your academic advisors, your professors, tutors, counselors, support groups. And remember, you are not alone in your student journey. This is just a twinkling of an eye. This is just a page in a chapter that it is going to get done, right? And remind yourself that if I plan effectively, I too can overcome any of these challenges. That's the reality. But resiliency is about being adaptable. And if you're resilient and you have adaptability, it will help you to bounce back from setbacks and negative changes effectively. And have effective communication. I can't stress this enough. If you're going through a hard time as a student, communicate that with your professor. And don't wait until your assignments are due to communicate that. Communicate that early on in the process. Like, let's say you got sick, or a family member got sick, or you just lost your job, or your internship is requiring more from you. Communicate that. I've seen oftentimes that students will wait until an assignment is due tomorrow to say, hey, Dr. So-and-so, Professor So-and-so, I need an extension. And they knew of this challenge prior to that day. Now, does things happen where you would have to ask for an extension or you would have to reach out for support at the last minute? Yes, we're human, life happens. But clear communication can prevent misunderstandings, conflicts, and it can also support you along your journey. And truthfully, we're all going to fail sometimes. So be okay with learning from your failures. Embrace failures as learning opportunities. Analyze what went wrong and use those lessons to improve for the next semester or the next thing or the next year. And stay positive. Positivity, I tell people all the time, positivity changes the way you see things and your outcome and the way you perceive things. And have a growth mindset. If you're going through a MSW or a BSW program or a DSW program, it's because you believe in yourself and you believe that you have what it takes to learn, improve, and to failure is just another chance to learn to grow. Yes, Jennifer, that's true. If you have this growth mindset, you know that you have what it takes, right? And you're in this program because you believe in you. So remind yourself when challenges come that I believe in myself, I believe in my ability, and I know what I'm doing, why I'm doing this. And although challenges has arrived, they're an opportunity for me to grow. And don't forget to take time to relax. Relax. If life is lifing, it's okay to relax. And the importance of networking. I can't stress this enough to students or to even professionals. Networking saves lives. Networking saves lives. You never know who you may encounter who has done it before or who has learned a way to minimize what you're doing, who has learned an acronym that helped them to ace a test. You don't know who is who if you don't network. It allows you to have friendships and peer support. It allows you to identify potential mentors, and it gives you an opportunity for future collaborations and job opportunities. The social work profession is very small. I tell people that all the time. Our profession is very small, and our profession is very small. And because of that, we have to be mindful of the connections that we're building. You never know who's your next boss, who's your next colleague, and who's your next sponsor. I always tell people that there's three people you need in life. You need a friend that can help you through things and they're at the same level as you, a peer. You need a mentor, someone who has done it before and can share some best practices with you. And then you need a sponsor, someone that you don't really connect with on a regular basis, but they're remembering, they can recall a time that you did something that stood out to them, and they'll speak your name in rooms before you even get there. They're the people that are saying, hey, I know someone who's looking for someone, and I think you're the perfect fit. And their word of their recommendation holds weight. So those are the three things that you need, and networking provides that. It's paramount. It's important. If you're a student, you need people to open doors for you. And there's a whole world of opportunities that is beyond our classrooms that if you don't network by actively engaging with your peers, faculty, professionals, and your community members, you might not be privy to those things. And you might think that social work is linear when it's really a big old circle. And there's so much to do here. And you never know who's going to say, hey, come to my platform. I saw you wrote a paper as a student. You did a poster presentation. Can you share that? So networking is important. And I know that I'm staying here for a little while, but I want you to know that networking really is important. There's so many doors that has opened for me as a social worker is because of networking. You're here because of NASW. That's a great place to network, right? If you are a student member, there's a whole forum for you. There are chapters that are willing and able to support you if you reach out to them, right? They have a wealth of people, presidents, board members that you can easily reach out to NASW chapter and say, hey, I need to interview someone who worked in palliative care. Do you have a connection? And that might lead to something that you never thought of, right? So remember that there's so many associations, there's so many groups. You can network on social media, Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, you name it, you can connect with people. Just use your voice, use your natural ability to connect as a social worker, because we know that we're great at connecting and communicating and actively listening. Use that to your advantage and connect with people. And I want us to do something really quickly. I want us to do a breakout. I was going to have us do breakouts so you guys can network with each other, but I'm looking at the time and I want to make sure that I am respectful of everyone's time here. So I'm not going to let us do the breakout rooms, but I do want to have a few participants participate, like come off of mute and answer these questions so that everyone can get to know. You can start with your name, what school you attend, where you are on the journey, and then take a target question and answer it. So ready? I'm gonna stop. Well, I'm gonna keep sharing my screen because you guys need the questions. But ready, set, go. Who's first? Can you please?
I'll go first.
Yes.
Hi, everybody. Sam and Derek. I'm a second year MSW student at Rutgers right now. I guess I'll do the first question. What inspired you to pursue a career in social work? And are there any specific areas of social work that you're particularly passionate about? I would say right now I'm definitely very passionate about people with disabilities, as well as LGBTQ rights and individuals with autism, I would say.
Thank you so much, Sam. Who's next? Who's next? Guys, don't make me call on you like we're on a Zoom classroom. Who is, okay, Gabrielle, you can go.
Hi, my name is Gabrielle. I'm also going into my second year of the MSW program at Rutgers, and I'm going to answer the first question as well. I wanted to pursue social work because in undergrad I studied psychology and gender studies and was also interested in public health and sociology, and I felt like social work was a good kind of combination of those fields to be able to do work that impacts the community in a positive way. So being able to address mental health, but also things like homelessness and food insecurity and all of that.
That is amazing. That is amazing. And I see all the Rutgers participants. So I'm excited that you guys are here. You guys are from home base. So yes. Amani.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. Do I have to answer both or just either one?
First one, either or.
Okay. I'll answer the first one. What inspired me to pursue a career in social work, and are there any specific areas of social work that I'm particularly passionate about? Well, I think for me, I probably just had a humble journey in life that I saw just probably a lot of healthcare, inadequacies and just social injustices that really just really was heartbreaking for me, probably as a child. And then I wanted to, try to, help that. And right now, I'm very passionate about helping older people. Is because they are, our growing population, and I really want to just make sure that they have proper health care, proper housing, and have proper overall well-being.
Thank you, Imani, for sharing.
And I go to Rutgers too, so yeah.
Okay, Rutgers is showing out, so no one else want to share. we're gonna stay here for a while, so I need more participants. I don't want to call on you guys. All right, Jennifer, you can go take the floor.
Hi, everyone. I will be starting my MSW program at the University of Maine in Orono. And I guess I will answer number 2. I just, as a social worker, want to create a safe space for everyone. People that seek out those type of services, typically it's not an easy thing. And I just want to be that safe place for them where they feel comfortable. And to do that, I will stay educated to maintain being competent and just learning different approaches for them.
Thank you, Jennifer, for sharing. Anyone else want to share? I see 2 hands are up. Hold on. I think these hands need to go down. Imani, do you want to share again?
Mine's a new one. I can go.
Okay, I can't see when in presenter mode. I can't see, but
My name's Jace. My pronouns are they, them, and I'm going into my final semester of my MSW. I graduate in December, and my last semester starts in like 2 weeks. I'm going to the University of Michigan for my MSW and have been working with the perinatal community doing individual therapy for my internship, which has been really fun. But I was inspired for social work during COVID, actually. The pandemic fell during my undergrad experience, and it kind of shook everything up for me. I really wanted to pivot to something that was more impactful than what I was doing. I was in the arts and loved that, but just felt a different calling. And I've been really loving it so far. I love that my job is having conversations for a living and getting to meet people has been really great. But yeah, I'm passionate about kind of a lot of things right now. I feel like I've learned so much in my MSW that like the horizons are so broad. I'm just excited to see what comes next for me.
I am excited for you too, Jace. Please stay in connections. Please stay connected. So we're going to leave our networking breakouts and we're going to pivot back to a slide that I realize is missing, but it has important information that I want to share with you guys. And it's just study techniques. So I want to share a few study techniques with you guys. And I will send out a PDF of these study techniques because I realize it's not in my slides to everyone that registered. But one of the study techniques I wanted to point out. Okay. All right, I'll read this for Luz, or I believe Liz or Luz. I'm an advanced standing program for California Baptist University, and I'm going into social work because of my upbringing and growing up seeing the injustice this vulnerable community faces. I'm focusing on newcomers and immigrant populations. Thank you for sharing. Thank you for sharing. So quickly, I wanted to share some study techniques because as social workers, we may have to take a licensure and we might have to take a lot of exams in our programs. And I think studying techniques helps us to get the job done and secure not only the grades that we are confident and proud of, but to get our license in the future. So active recall. Active recall is a study technique where you, instead of just reading something, you actively quiz yourself on the material. So you summarize what you read in your own words, and then you answer questions related to it. And that is a technique that saved me many of times. Summarizing things in language that I understand, because sometimes I speak one language and the textbook is in gibberish and I just don't get it. So active recalling and summarizing what I read based on how I communicate best has been beneficial. Spaced repetition. And this allows you to review and revisit materials at intervals over time. And it's spacing out what you're learning, and it allows you with long-term retention. You can use flashcards, you can use a notebook, you can create a PowerPoint. any way that you can like have the information, remove it from you, from your focal point, and then regurgitate what you read or what you saw. Mind mapping. And this is when you create a visual of what it is, right? We're talking about, let's say, negative thoughts, right? In CBT. How can I mind map like the foundations of CBT so that I can recall this later? What pictures can I use? Like, do I want to use a picture of a head, the emoji with the head with the brains blown out, right? Or do I want to use an emoji of someone looking down as someone like looking internally and creating a bigger idea than what it really is, right? And then flashcards, summarization, and chunking is a really good one where you chunk information that's similar together so you can remember them. And then the last one is creating acronyms, rhymes, songs, jingles, and associations to help you remember things. And now we're just going to connect the dots. Connect the dots. So some of the main points that I covered in this presentation was about maintaining your GPA, time management, embracing learning opportunities, networking with other social work students and professors and colleagues and organizations, self-care, taking care of you, learning how you learn best, learning how you study best, learning what study technique works best for you, doing a self-inventory about what worked 3 months ago, what's no longer serving and working, and how you can make it more beneficial for the future. And just realizing that your social work student journey is something that is important to you. And you're going to make it, you're going to graduate, you're going to look back at this journey and say, wow, it wasn't as big and as challenging or as stressful as I thought it was when I was there, because you have completed the journey. But while you're in the journey, you can't see the window. All you're seeing is the reflection. And maximizing it is knowing that that's okay and creating the steps and the tools that works best for you. So I'm going to stop sharing my screen so we can ask questions, and then I'll come back and share my screen so we can connect further if you guys choose to do so. So if you have any questions, feel free to unmute, drop them in the chat, and I will answer them to the best of my ability. Anybody have any questions? All right, guys. So since you guys have no questions, we're going to go to the connect slide. You guys can feel free to connect with me, but I also want you guys to have an opportunity to network with each other. So if you are able to drop your LinkedIn link, drop it in the chat so our friends all over the world, all over the United States that are students just like you can connect. Because I'm a big believer of connecting. So drop your LinkedIns in the chat and let's connect. Can you talk more about making time for self-care? Absolutely. Self-care is something, let me stop sharing. Self-care is something that's really important to me. And I think about when I was a student, I had to schedule it. And that's something that I really recommend to students. As you're planning your weeks and your entire semesters, make sure you schedule time for self-care, whether that is a 5-minute walk on a Thursday evening, whether that is a bubble bath on a Saturday morning, whether that is having your favorite cheat meal. Schedule it in. Make sure you're planning that time. Make sure you're saying, okay, I need to schedule an appointment with me. That's what I call it. So I would say schedule those appointments with you. And when you schedule those appointments, keep them. It's easy to say like, oh, it's just something that I wanted to do with myself. It's just, it's just me. Let me focus on something else. So keep the appointments that you make with yourself. I would say figuring out meaningful self-care has been like 50% of my, yes. And it's important to figure it out. What is self-care to you? And not what is self-care to someone else? Because I can tell you what is self-care for me, and that might not be beneficial for you. Like for me, I like to take walks. I like to have my matcha. I like to clean my house and put on a book. That might not be the same thing for you. So finding out what is self-care for you and how you can execute it, but make sure you're scheduling appointments with yourself. And I'm going to stop the recording right now, but thank you guys so much for joining the NASW for our student programming for August. I had a lot of fun spending time with you guys and chatting with you guys about maximizing your journey and giving you some tools and tips and tricks and best practices that have worked for me. Thank you so much for committing your Thursday evening with us and being a great participating group. You guys chimed in, you guys did assignments, and it was really great to be in this space. I just want to leave you with a few tips. Don't forget to take your self inventories before you start your programs. If school has not started yet, it's a great time to do a self-assessment of self before you start your program so that you can have a few boundaries in place that will be beneficial for you. And keep dropping your LinkedIns in. I think it's important for you guys to connect. These are your future colleagues. The recording will be up, and I will send a PDF of some of my slides so that you guys can have it as a reference point. But again, thank you so much for joining us. It was a great time. And if you guys have any questions in the future, I'm going to drop my work email. I am just an email away. If I can figure it out, I'm an email away. And if you are not part of the New Jersey chapter or the Delaware chapter, I will do my best to connect you with the chapter that is yours. So it's not letting me. Oh, it's not letting me. Cooper. So my email is rcooper.naswnj@socialworkers.org. You're welcome, Sam. It's a pleasure. And before you go to sleep tonight, make sure you all do something kind for yourself. Whatever it is, that is your marching orders. Before you go to sleep tonight, make sure you do something kind for yourself. You deserve it. You worked hard for it. And no one else has to do it, but you can do it for you. So I hope you guys have a great rest of your day. And I look forward to seeing you at our September programming. And before we leave, I just want to let everyone know, September, we are going to be having, thank you, Nadir, for putting that information in the chat. September, we're going to be having the Social Work Grand Challenges. It's going to be an amazing panel from the Social Work Grand Challenges organization. And they're really going to tell social work students what they can look into doing for the next few years that can eradicate some of the challenges that we have in the profession right now. That link to register will be up and out by tomorrow. So I hope you guys register. And if you are not connected with the NASW on Instagram, LinkedIn, or even with our website, please familiarize yourself with the NASW national website so that you can know when they're hosting amazing student programs such as this one for students just like you. And until next time, have a great rest of your August summer day and stay safe.